Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio, what's poppin'?
Another day, another dollar.
I know, 2 episodes.
Keeping it good.
2 days.
Keeping it good.
2 a days.
You can't tell people that we just recorded another episode.
You got a flat tire? Good. Be appreciative you have a car.
Good.
Yeah. Good.
Good. It's all good, John.
Is it? That's the word
Yes.
way to look at it?
Here's what I want you to do. Shout out to Kyle Johnson.
Shout out KJ.
Our friend KJ over at New American.
Mm-hmm.
So Kyle just hit me up on LinkedIn. It's like, hey, you and JC and the guests that come on your show, you guys are always dropping like these great resources and these books that you're reading.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it if you on TLOPonline.com were to actually like give us links
There it is.
to these.
Okay.
Can you and Dennis make that happen?
We can make it happen.
Like you and I are kind of like not making fun, but we're referencing Good, which is an awesome YouTube video done by Jocko. I'm a big fan of Jocko's book, Extreme Ownership. So you could have like resources on tloponline.com. You already have a ton of great content.
Thank you.
And awesome links to industry resources and guides and trackers and printouts and I mean hundreds of additional training videos.
Literally.
If you want training videos, they're there.
Yeah.
Hundreds of training videos are on this website. But there's also several resources. How cool would it be like if we're referencing Jocko's Good clip from I think 2016, you could have a link to that.
Right there, yeah.
Or like if we're talking about Anthony Frisella's podcast, the MFCEO project from March of 2019, that's where he launched 75 Hard. We could have a link to that.
Yep.
We could have a link to Extreme Ownership.
All right.
What if you had like an Amazon store?
There you go.
And then it'd be a link
To
the website, to
Yeah.
Amazon. They can buy the book.
That's deep. You're going deep. That's 7
Okay,
layers.
John, can you make this happen on tloponline.com?
Yes, we will make it happen.
Do you think you could have it ready by the time that we're out in Vegas in September and we could like talk about it on the main stage?
What?
While we are in Vegas at Mortgage Mastermind?
I'm gonna ask them for one of those overhead projectors with the clear film back in the old day. You know what those are.
I do know what
With
those are. With the
they're-
vis-a-vis?
Yeah, and they used to write upside down. Like, all right, in this equation, kids have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I was always the class clown that would come through and do the
swimming thing or
the hand puppets,
hand puppets, yeah.
the shadow puppets
Clearly,
they call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but wouldn't it be awesome? I don't know if you and Dennis can work that fast. It did take you all 9 months to build this website. But
yes.
it would be nice if you could take KJ's recommendations.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Kyle, thank you because I've been asking for this shit for like 6 months, but they don't listen to me.
Right.
But
Hey,
because you said it.
That's what's called third-party validation.
It is called third-party validation. I'm a huge fan of third-party validation.
Yes,
I think as a salesperson, as a marketing rep, as a business owner, when you're trying to convey a message, it's always nice to have third-party validation. Like if I'm trying to talk about why condo financing is so difficult to a home buyer, I can talk all I want, but I can also send them an article that was just featured in like the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times and say, hey, check this out. It's not just me telling you this. One of the purposes of shows like this and the content we produce is I want to give our audience third-party validation.
Okay.
Like if you're trying to convey a message to a realtor or to a CPA or to a potential home buyer or to your neighbor, your friend, your best friend, your spouse, why not use the content that we create as subject matter experts in certain fields and use it as your third-party validation?
Lord knows.
Yes. Yeah. Lord knows. Whatever that
I don't know.
means.
Lord knows because that's what my wife says. That you never listen to me, but as soon as someone else says it, you're like, let's do it. That's what she tells me.
Oh, I thought your wife tells you Lord knows.
No, that's like Lord knows is like, yes, facts, Dustin. Preach. Say it one more time.
Because your mom's always like, oh, not my baby.
Not my baby. Yeah.
And
but
then your wife's always like, Lord knows.
Yeah, exactly.
Lord knows. Yeah.
If you only knew Mrs. Coleman.
We don't know what the Lord knows, though.
No.
Okay, we don't.
That's why you say it. Like, Lord only knows. Do you see, like, Lord only knows what that boy's thinking? That's
like he's a creepy guy that's like has the Ring camera and he's spying on us.
I saw that. I see on bumper stickers all the time in Florida.
You see what?
No, that's what the bumper sticker. I saw that. From God.
Oh.
You see, get it together, Dustin.
And Santa Claus.
You? Oh, yeah.
Santa Claus sees everything, too.
That's creepy.
Yes. Santa Claus is a little bit creepy if you think about that. Like, he knows when I'm good. He knows
all
when I'm bad.
that means is parents just lied to us our entire childhood. Just lie after lie. Fairy tales, Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny.
I hope people tuning in understood this. We said children 18 plus. Yeah, if not, John Coleman's just absolutely wrecking some kid's day.
Right. Well, if you still believe, there was always hope. Because you know what? No one else will make you believe it for you.
Okay, talk about that.
I don't know. This is
about that.
This is the topic of today's.
What is the topic of today's episode, John?
No one can make you want it.
No one can make you.
No one can light that fire under your ass. I mean, they can. You might lose your job, but other than that.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. We're going to unpack this today.
Okay.
That's what today's episode is going to be.
Okay.
No one can want it but you.
No one can want it but you. I like that.
Yeah, you got to want it. Whatever it is, right? These are things that I believe in. I believe in because I study it with the books I read. I study it with the podcasts I listen to, or I've lived it, and I've seen both the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I've experienced some success. And at the end of the day, no one can want it as bad as you, and no one can make it happen better than you. And these are conversations that are really coming from a coaching call that I was on as a student. Like, yes, I too pay to be coached, as well as coaching that I was doing, both internally for those loan officers that work directly for my organization, and externally for those loan officers that are TLOPers that want to be coached by someone outside of their organization but still in their field. And I kept on noticing these common themes, whether it's the external group, the internal group, or the group that I pay to be a part of. And it was like, wow, at the end of the day, I am where I am because I got myself here. And I'm going where I'm going based on the effort I'm willing to put in. So what I want to do is kind of pull from those conversations and share some stories in hopes that it helps someone ignite the fire underneath their rear end that's going to be required to go achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. Right? That clip from Jocko that we've been referencing now for 2 episodes of good. It's a great way to start your day, especially if you're in a bad place mentally. If you're in a woe is me, the sky is falling, people are out to get me, do yourself a favor. The clip is only 2.5 minutes long. Go to YouTube. Type in Jocko Good. That's all you have to do. And why do I know that's all you have to do? Because I just did it for 40 people that were in a branch meeting that I kicked off this morning. And I typed in YouTube Good. I went to YouTube first. Good Jocko. First thing that pulled up. And I did that kind of impromptu because I rolled into this meeting and I knew I was going to kick it off, but I wasn't going to be the one facilitating the bulk of the meeting. And the person who was, he already had his laptop out, already had the projector screen pulled down, and the projector on. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Might as well. Right? So nobody can want it as bad as you. So this is stemming from a conversation I had with a loan originator who, hey, truth be told, homeboy's in a rough spot right now. The good news is he can get out of that spot. He brought himself into that spot. Only he can take it out of the spot. And it's interesting because as we were having a one-on-one, a heart-to-heart, he said something along the lines of I wish my manager was better at holding me accountable. What do you think my response was?
Lord only knows.
Lord only knows. I can guarantee you this. It wasn't, you're right, your manager's a great technician, but he doesn't do a good job of holding people accountable. No, my response is that's bullshit. You need another grown-ass man to hold you accountable?
Yeah, I can't do it myself, so it's your fault. Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
No. Like, at the end of the day, you are the 44-year-old. At the end of the day, you are the person who's trying to run your own business. At the end of the day, no one can want it better than you or more than you. So no, you should not need someone else who's another grown-ass adult to come behind you and say, John, why were you not here at 8 a.m.? John, how come when you're coming into work, I don't see you making your sales calls?
Bro, that's micromanagement.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Yeah. So then I started naming names. And I'm going to use podcast guests for those that are tuning in.
Okay.
So I said to this person, I said, do you think Mike Smalley has ever needed somebody to make sure he went to work and did his job? So do you think Casey McElroy has ever needed somebody to pull him into the office and have a heart-to-heart when he's not making his sales calls? Do you think Kevin Murphy ever needed somebody to explain to him what the proper dress code was? And then more importantly, when he quit adhering to that dress code, to call him out? Yeah. Or do you think all three of those people are consummate professionals who are running their own business and are exceeding expectations, excelling at a high level because, damn it, they wanted to. Right. And he was like, oh, good point. And what it was somebody was looking for an escape. They were looking for an excuse.
Quick out.
They wanted a quick out. Thinking on the lines of quick, so many times people expect quick success or quick turnarounds or quick results.
Yeah.
Right? I always attribute to weight loss. I start there. And I'm like, hey, look, you didn't get fat overnight. You're not going to get healthy overnight.
Dio, I made 100 calls this week, just like you said, and I went to open houses, and I got nothing out of it. I'm
good. But that's actually how I found and learned good. I was on this coaching call, and one of my peers said to the coach when he was saying, hey, how was everyone's week last week? Give me some wins. I shared my win. This other person shared their win. This dude said, I got my teeth kicked in, Clint. And Clint goes, good. And that's why we went down the rabbit hole. And it's like, good. The good of that is you did all of those activities and you didn't find success. So because you did all of those activities and didn't find success, you're now going to work harder to do those activities better. And by consistently doing those activities, the odds, because sales and marketing and business operation is typically a numbers game, the odds are in your favor that the next week you're going to see the result that you were looking to elicit, because that's how things roll. It takes persistence and consistency. So that was my conversation and my thought process behind, well, you didn't get fat overnight. You're not going to get healthy overnight, right? The person who I'm talking to didn't get into the position that he got into business overnight. Mm-hmm. It was a 16-month lack of effort, lack of consistency, lack of caring, lack of trying. So I said to him, this was my advice to him, I can't do it for you. Your manager can't do it for you. We can't want it for you. But if you're calling me and you're telling me that you want to come into the office on Monday and you want to restart what you initially started 3 years ago, great. But I need you to understand that it's not going to just in 30 or 60 days of these efforts, you're going to get what you wanted. I told him he had to understand that it's a journey, it's a process. Every day he's focusing on getting better. And the version that we expect to see of him on Monday is a version that nobody has seen. I don't want the version that I hired 3 years ago. Right? I don't want you to work your butt off to get back to where you were 3 years ago. I want you to roll in here and I want you to show me who I've never seen. That version of you that you've never seen, I've never seen, because this is going to be the best version. But I kept on coming back to I can't do it for you. You got to want to do it, and you can't expect results overnight. And when things don't go your way, you're going to have to be able to say good and keep moving forward, because it's going to be the persistent consistency that pays off.
For those individuals that don't have your I'll run through a brick wall, hold my beer mentality, I'm going to get it done, and get frustrated, what are some tips, tricks, and tactics beyond just like, just one more call that you can share to help them get over like the doldrums of whatever kind of pit?
Hey, John, I think your mom's outside, man. Hey, are you supposed to be somewhere?
Yeah. Do you have any tips for people that aren't as like maybe headstrong or kind of get down on themselves or is frustrated and then kind of can't turn on the switch as quickly as someone like yourself? What are some tips that you can have?
I don't have any good tips. My sage advice would be take everything one day at a time, right? Like, it's okay to have a bad day. It's not okay to have consistently bad days. And a bad day has to do with your effort. So you have to track and control what you can control, right? I can't control how many people go out to buy a house this week. I can't control how many people put their home on the market. I can't control whether or not mortgage rates are 4.5% or 6.5%. I can't control that. What I can control is my activity. I can control my effort. I can control how I treat people. Those are things that I can control. I can control things I'm willing to sacrifice, right? I can control that, but I can't. So I can't control the exterior. Right. When someone is not willing to say, hold my beer, watch me run through a brick wall, I don't understand that. So I don't have good advice besides, and I'm rereading Atomic Habits right now by James Clear. I think it is a habit that has to be formed. Luckily for me, I've been forming this habit maybe since my adolescence, maybe since early adulthood, right? Because of my upbringing, a little bit of my nature, but also a little bit of my upbringing. Like we were lectured in my household about not doing half-ass work, right? Like that was a big thing. My father gave praise based on your effort, not necessarily based on your results. And my father's praise over effort was higher than anything else. So I would encourage somebody, and Ed Milet talks about this. I don't talk enough about Ed Milet. His podcast is one of my more favorite podcasts to listen to. And it's interesting because I'm not sold on being like a huge Ed Milet fan like others maybe are, but I think he has really good content. He has great guests. He gives a great interview. And I think Ed just wrote a book, and his book, it might be titled One More. But I think it's getting that one more mentality, meaning you're having a bad day, whether it's in the gym, whether it's at work, whether it's at home. One more would be, I know I'm having a bad day at the gym, but I'm going to do one more minute on the treadmill. I'm going to do one more rep. I'm going to do one more set. I know I'm having a bad day, right? I know that I want to stop at 6 reps of squats. I know I'm supposed to be doing 10. I'll do 7. It's just that mentality of whatever is coming natural to me that day, I'm going to do one more. And I think when you get in the habit of I'm a one more person, eventually that'll lead you to I am a hold my beer, run through brick wall type person.
Right.
If I say I'm going to do something, I do something. For me, it's because I'm a man of my word. Right. I at least pride myself on being a man of my word. Right. I would leave that to others to judge me on whether or not I'm a man of my word. Right. I would like to believe that I am. I live my life as if I am. So my word, whether it's to me, to you, or someone else, if I said I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And what I like to do, I do share it. I share my intentions with other people, mainly to hold myself accountable. Right. Also because the more I talk about something, it's my way, and you've learned this from working with me, it's my way of categorizing my thoughts and understanding my thoughts better so that I can either better explain them to myself or to others. But I do share things that I'm trying to accomplish because if I put it out there, you're a universe person. If I put it out there, it'll happen. If I talk about it, then I can't not be a man of my word.
Exactly.
So those are things that help me as well.
Question for you. When you were a loan originator back in the day, and I'm sure you got frustrated, right? Was there ever a point that you wanted to throw in the towel, not want to be a LO?
Yes. And I'm glad you asked this question because this came up in a conversation that I had this week with a loan officer that I was doing a one-on-one with. And it was someone who's contemplating seriously leaving the industry. And I'm like, hey, look, bro, if you don't love this, then maybe you don't need to be doing it, right? Life is short enough that if you don't love what you do, then, go find something you do, assuming that is something you can do to provide for your family, save for retirement. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, not every day at work is going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but the industry, it as a whole, is something that I've always loved. I've always been passionate about. I mean, even like my first year in the industry when I made $46,000 my first year and $48,000 my second year, 100% commission, working 60 hours a week, making myself available nights and weekends, I was always able to say, man, I like what I do, right? So your question of was there ever a time? Yeah, I can vividly remember the year at least was 2009, right? So 2006 was my breakout year as an originator. That was the first year I did over 100 units. I did over 24 million in volume. 2007 was when everything started to get a little bit wonky. By 2008, the proverbial shit has hit the fan. So I survive 8, basically burning through my savings. I get to 9, the savings is all depleted. Things aren't getting remarkably better. And it's about May of 2009. And I'm like, crap, I have 3 loans in my pipeline. You're talking to a guy who's used to closing 8 to 10 loans a month. I got 3 loans in my pipeline. And if one of them doesn't close, I can't pay my bills. Like, true story. Like, just can't pay my bills. Average loan size was about $135,000. My average commission was probably around $1,500. 3 loans was $4,500. I would probably net somewhere around $3,800 to $4,000. That'd be enough to pay my minimum bills. Right back then, mortgage was $1,200. Had 2 car payments that amounted to $700. Right. Student loans at that time were probably deferred, so I wasn't paying on them. Right. And I was probably paying just the bare minimum on my credit cards. Right. No vacations, no lavish. Yeah. I was buying generic everything, right? Generic soda.
Kirkland's breast again.
Correct. Everything was generic. So I was like, you know what? I'm a advertising public relations major, right? I'm good at sales. I did good at sales in TV advertising and in mortgage. So I'm going to go and get a bunch of interviews. I'm leaving this industry. Peace out.
Really?
Yeah, I was done. Absolutely done. So I won't bore you with the finite details, but just know this. I was paying $100 a month to be on a certain website that helped you find sales jobs where the income was over $100,000. And I was not getting a whole lot of attention. And when I would reach out to people, basically I had a scarlet letter on my chest because I was coming from mortgage. So very few wanted to talk to me.
Right.
Now, they want to talk to me because they thought all mortgage originators were order takers. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I was an order taker. I'm pretty sure I lived, having to do the 12-week challenge, having to do face-to-faces and one-on-ones. But back then, so many other mortgage loan originators were order takers that they didn't have necessarily a sharp skill set. And those are a sharp skill set. Yeah.
Right.
And those are probably the loan originators who didn't make it through those tough years. So long story short. Long story less long, I should say. Long story less long. I did the old-fashioned network with my friends and my colleagues and my neighbors and et cetera. And someone knew someone at a venue. And that venue was hiring like a VP of sales. And the venue was an arena.
Okay.
Right. So it was an arena. The arena hosts various, basketball and
like concerts, events.
Concerts, events, comedians. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my job would have been a salaried job, but also highly commissioned based on bringing in various acts. Yeah. Yep. So I was like, all right, cool. So this job, let's say it could have paid $140,000 max if I hit all my KPIs.
Okay.
And it was within 15-20 minutes of my house, so decent driving distance. And for the most part, it was a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Well, except for when they had an event, then I had to be there when they had an event, which they had events on average 2 to 3 times a month.
Okay.
So there's going to be at least 2 to 3, upwards to 6 nights that I was going to have to also work, probably pretty late. Could have been a weekend, could have been a weekday, just depending on how the venues fall. And I sat down because I had the interview set up, and I knew I was like one of 3 people that they were considering, and I had an inside track. And I started really considering the pros and cons. So I did a pros and cons analysis, like an ROI on this analysis. This was a pros and cons analysis. And I was like, okay, if I leave the mortgage industry, what do I have to do? Well, I have to learn this new venue sales, venue management. Okay, I could probably do that in 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm going to have to build out a new network because my current network was full of people who were like homeowners or people who sold real estate. I'm like, okay, so it's going to take me probably a year or 2 to make all of those connections with the various promoters and institutions that would hire an arena or partner with an arena. And I was going to have to work really hard.
Yeah.
I was going to have to grind. I was going to have to get up every day, go to the office, make a bunch of sales calls, and make myself available nights and weekends.
Yup.
So then I started looking at the mortgage industry. I was like, well, I at least already know this industry because I had been working in it now for 3 years. And although, truth be told, a lot of my past clients at this point were probably short selling their home, going into foreclosure, or filing bankruptcy, that was only, a third. There were still 2/3 that still had their home loan. And those people still knew people who eventually were going to buy houses.
Yeah.
And although a good amount of my realtors were getting out of the business because it was 2009 and they too couldn't really survive the economic collapse that was transpiring, I still had a database of past clients. I still had a database of referral sources. So that all I really had to do if I stayed in mortgage, I didn't have to learn a new trade and I didn't have to like from scratch build out a network of referral sources and clients. I just had to work really hard and maybe make myself available nights and weekends. And even that story now is 13 years ago, it still resonates with me, and I hope others tuning in gather something from it, because if you're ever in that position and you're running a pros and cons and you're thinking about leaving your current industry, I want you to ask yourself, what's going to be different when you leave? Are you going to be a different person? Are you going to act differently? Are you going to dress differently? Is your behavior going to be different?
for the first week, and then that's just going to go right back to how you used to be.
Okay, so then you're going to leave one industry for another industry, but you're going to end up in the same exact spot or worse because that new industry required you to learn something new and to build something you didn't already have. And it just keeps on coming back to that same reminder, like no one can do it for you. Many people tuned in right now need to hear this message because this is the kick in the pants that they need to be like, yeah, you know what? Things aren't that easy right now. Good. Let me go out and build a sustainable book of business that's going to last me a lifetime because maybe you didn't do it last year because it was too easy, or you didn't do it the year before because it was too easy. This is the year to do it. What is it going to require? It's going to require you to get up every morning, put on your uniform, go to work, and put in an honest day's work and potentially make yourself available nights and weekends. But nobody, not John Coleman, not Dustin Owen, not TLOPers, not your boss, not your manager, not your spouse. Nobody can want it for you. You got to want it for you. And I'll leave you on this. If you ever need a motivation on well, what's it going to take to keep you persistently consistent with your activities, especially if you're a parent, ask yourself this. What if my child was giving the effort I'm giving? What if my child was approaching their schoolwork, their extracurricular activity, their travel sports organization with the same laissez-faire, lackadaisical, woe is me attitude? Would you be proud of your child? Now turn around and ask this. Would your child be proud of you based on your behavior? And for many of us, especially those parents who are tuned in, that's a big effing wake-up call. Because you can't want it, or others can't want it for you. You got to want it for you. Right. But are you making you proud? Are you making you proud? For many people, they need to sit down or stand up, look at that person in the mirror, have a long, hard conversation, and make a decision to start changing one thing. One thing. What's your one thing? If your one thing is you got to get up every morning by 6, get up every morning by 6. That's it. Start there. You might not make it to the office until 9, but if you get up at 6, you're at least starting your day earlier than you probably were. For other people, it's I need to get to the office by a certain time. I get up by 6 easily. I need to make sure I'm in the office, cool, by 8:30. And then once you start becoming routine in what time you get up and what time you get to the office, you can start adding your additional routines to that. Yeah. Don't try to do it all at once, right? Going back to my analogy of the morbidly obese person, they didn't become that way overnight. They're not going to unbecome that way overnight. Right. You're not going to just snap your fingers and do a 180 and you're this totally rock star business professional. Guess what? You'll never be the rock star business professional that you want to be or that you envision, because that's always going to change. As you get better, as you become habitually better in terms of how you act, what you do, and the habits you've created, you'll consistently find areas of improvement. So trust the process, and then understand the process is an adventure, it's an evolution, and there's never an end goal. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. So you're constantly growing and evolving, but look at getting 1% better per day, not 100% better tomorrow.
Well said.
And knock yourself out.
Word.
Whoever needed to hear this message, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Whoever didn't need to hear this message,
you're welcome.
You're welcome. Good.
Good.
No,
Yeah.
Share it with someone that you think does. Yeah. That person right now, that person thinks you don't care. That person that you haven't gone out of your way to check in on and say, are you all right? Yeah. Hey, man, seems like you kind of been dragging ass a little bit. Maybe this wasn't for you, but it is for them. Show them you care by sharing. Sharing is caring.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey, look, our website is theloneofficerpodcast.com or affectionately tloponline.com. We encourage you like crazy to check it out. If you're on that website, that's where you're going to be able to find our social handles for Facebook, for LinkedIn, for TikTok, for Instagram. Follow us on all of those. We're pretty accessible, especially on Instagram and on LinkedIn. I am Dustin Owen on LinkedIn. If you ever want to contact John Coleman directly, I promise you he hates me sharing this, but do it through the website. John's pretty easily accessible if you contact us through the website. any other medium or forum, he'll act like he doesn't know you. It's July 2022. He and I are going to be out in Vegas together at a mortgage event called Mortgage Mastermind 2022. Information about that event is on our website. We are speaking at the event. The event is being sponsored, or not the event, our portion of the event is going to be sponsored by our friends over at Jungo. Jungo is an amazing CRM that we utilize for my mortgage origination teams. And continue to like us, continue to share us, give us a 5-star review. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good jazz. And mostly putting out in the universe. John and I love doing this shit. Like, we really do. Right now, we're 2 dudes, 3 cameras, 2 mics, 2 lights. Yeah. We are self-produced. But if you love what we're doing and you think more people would enjoy our content, man, put us in contact with folks that know a thing or two about promotion, about public relations, about what would you call those people, John?
Dio just wants to know the shakers and movers in the industry so we can blow up.
There we go. That's it.
That's really what it is.
He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today. I will catch you on the next episode when I'm back from my trip to the 7D Ranch in Yeehaw. Peace out, folks.